Welcome back to Life and Style Relationship Wednesday. We are now on Re.take. On Monday with the men, we were talking about external relationships and especially the house helps. We've spoken a few things with the men. Who should be the ideal house help? Is it a man? Is it a lady? What age? But now we want to hear the voice of the ladies who have joined us right here. We want to hear their perspective, their voice. We want to hear their views concerning the external relationships. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, beginning to my far left. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pastor Chris. My name is Mona Lisa.
All right. And then closest to me right here.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Beatrice.
Okay. And to my right.
Thank you so much for having us, all of us. My name is Sydney.
Okay. Sydney, did you listen to what the men were saying?
Absolutely.
Did you agree with what they said?
Well, for most of it,
Okay.
yeah.
What didn't you agree with?
I think on the issue of choosing a house help in terms of age. So, I mean, really, I think it depends.
Okay.
It's an assumption that if you have an older house help, then she's able to behave herself. She's, especially if she's had kids or if she has kids, she knows how to take care of your kids as well. At the end of the day, it's a matter of preference, really. I mean, you can't really say because she's older that she probably won't misbehave or do one or two things that you're not comfortable with. On the other side of it as well, the other side of the coin, when you have someone younger, an assumption as well, probably she'll start going around with other house helps, gossiping and stuff, or if, or she'll probably be disciplining your child in a very funny way when you're not around. It's preference, really.
And I need to pick up that. Is it right for a house help to discipline the children?
As for me, I don't think we should give them that full mandate. But you see, they are your eyes when you're not there. So it's just a good thing to give them a certain platform to do that when you're not around. But
To what extent should they? Are they supposed to mete out the discipline? Are they supposed to report to the parents? If they're meeting out the discipline, what are they allowed to do? Or what should they be allowed to do? Should they be able to beat up? Should they be able to tell the child, you're not going out? So what should they be allowed to do?
I think for me, we always have that talk before they start working. I don't beat my kids and I don't expect you to be doing the same.
I think we should agree on the mode of,
Okay.
Of disciplining,
Yeah.
so that they don't do something that you have not told them to do.
Okay.
At some time they can withdraw privileges. You have, as a parent, you have to lay down what you want them to do exactly. If you don't want them to spank your kids, just tell them, don't spank my kids. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but they have the right. They should have at least some borrowed powers if they are going to be effective.
True.
Yeah,
Because
because
their
they are
point-
your extended hand in
Yeah.
raising those kids.
Yeah, there comes a point when, kids read through people and they get to know this is a quiet person. So
Yeah.
when mom and dad are not around, I will take over.
Yeah.
So there are those, but again, as I said before, you should let them know the limits.
All right.
Yes.
And what happens, because I asked the men this, they both kept on trying to tell me that the ladies should be in charge of the house girls. But aren't there cases where probably you want to have, there is a man who can work very well as a house help? Those situations, must the help be a lady?
Yes. 110%. Yes. I think generally, as a man, regardless of whether you get that woman from the countryside or from town, she's 30, 20, there's that aspect of if that house help serves the woman, serves the man in the right way, there's a way this man will feel, oh, okay, For example, if the wife is not at home most of the time, so you find it's the house help doing everything. She prepares the water for the bath. She serves the man with tea when he comes back. You'll find at a certain level, the man will start feeling, this woman is doing better than my wife. So there'll be a level of disrespect, if I might say. So I'm thinking, house helps, with all due respect, should be women.
It should be women?
Yes.
Don't you think that what you're saying would make sense then to have a man? By what you said? Yeah, because if you feel that when the woman is away, this house girl or house help is treating the man very well, don't you think then it is safer to bring a gentleman to be serving your husband tea?
Well, I think it also depends with the setup. Like, I would watch a long time ago when we would go back up country. You'll find more male house helps than female, because they're versatile. You see, they're not just in the house, they'll do the guys. So it also depends with the setup. If back here in town, setup, I think I've seen more ladies, and it's because just of the setup.
There are some communities that, you know, like I would dare say that most of the Asian community while I was growing up, most of their people were men, right? Because there's also this thing that people say that men are better cooks, you know. So would you bring in a man, Sydney, to be the house help because he's a good cook, he's going to be gardening, as Mona Lisa is saying, he can cut the grass, he can change the tires, clean the compound, do the hard chores, and still be able to do housekeeping. Would you do that?
I mean, I think I would, because really, if I mean, at the end of the day, are you able to do what we sat down and discussed to do? You get, am I comfortable with you in my house? Is my husband comfortable with you in the house? I don't really think it's a matter of gender, really. Let's sit down, discuss on what I need to be done and how I need my specific things to be done, or how my husband wants his things to be done. If you're able to do it, well and good, you know. So female, male, I really don't think it's an issue, really.
Does that make sense to you now, James?
No, I'm not convinced yet. I'm not convinced. It's a matter of preference.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a male handling my daughter, you know, taking her to the shower. For me, I find it awkward. You know?
All right. So is it just something that you have in your mind, or is it a reality? Is it a perception or a reality? Because in the same way, is it safer than for a female house girl to handle your son?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a mindset.
Yeah.
It's a mindset, you know.
The other one is easier to digest.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's hard for people to break away from traditions. Yeah. Traditionally, it has been house helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even when you go to the bureaus, they
They've
say
been female.
Yeah, they're mostly women.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that becomes a comfortable place.
Yes.
But I need to ask the ladies, what do you do when you have this kind of a house help? You know, like Mona Lisa, you're dressed up right now very well. Then you've got this house help who nearly matches you in dressing. You don't want to put them down, but is that comfortable?
I actually encourage the people who know how to look after themselves, because in that way they'll know how to look after your house, they'll know how to dress my kids and all that. I think we should be comfortable. We should be comfortable. Either way, looking good you don't necessarily have to be exposed.
Yeah,
Yes.
be exposed, yeah.
To be exposed, those are two different things.
I think if you look at people who come from well-off families or high-income areas, most of their house helps normally have uniforms. So you're well covered up, your dress is past your knees, and that's how they feel comfortable when they're home, right? But when you look at people who come from, for example, low-income areas, very rarely would you find someone, a house help, with their uniforms. They're probably in jeans, a t-shirt, a skirt, whatever. So sometimes it depends. It depends.
There is a thought. I'm going to represent the people from the street. I'm going to ask questions for the people from the street. There is the thinking that if you bring in a house help who is very good looking,
Yeah.
you are probably going to lose your marriage. Is that a myth or a truth?
That is a myth. Because I'm thinking, as much as you bring a house help who is educated, good looking, she knows how to do her makeup, you know, she does her cologne very well, and then you bring her in and then you think as if you think you will lose your marriage, that is not a truth. It's a myth. Because I'm thinking you're bringing this person to help, and you and your husband, you have been in this marriage for 5, 10 to 1 year. So you have your own ground rules that you've set, you know. Before you brought this house help, for example, I might be a woman who has insecurity issues. So I tell you about this lady whom, yes, I can see she's good looking and everything, but I don't want to feel threatened in this marriage. So the guy will be like, oh, okay.
So
You
you're
know?
saying that the woman should express.
Yes.
In that case, you need to express yourself and say, look, I don't want to feel like you're getting too close.
Yeah.
Yes.
But is that very practical, Pastor Ruel?
It has happened before. You know, we have heard of those cases whereby a man has started moving out with this beautiful lady. But then I think for me, it boils down to morals. Yeah, because if your husband is morally upright, then no matter how seductive the lady is, he will not budge in. Yeah.
But I'm just thinking in this setup whereby you know your husband, and we are different. Even as ladies, we are different. So when it gets to a place when Beatrice, we have to bring our husbands to the side and tell them, you know, this lady is very beautiful, and so please keep your. I don't think we have to go through that. Just go look for someone who.
Who will not threaten?
That old lady, you know, that you. I think.
Do you have an old lady?
Yes, I do have an old lady, but not because of my husband.
By the way, Pastor Ruel, she's married to James.
Yes,
so-
that's my husband. So in this setup, I've always had these young ladies, and some are very beautiful, more beautiful than I am. I have to agree, and I don't think there's any time that I ask my husband to, you know, I beg you, hubby, just keep. She will not be serving you food. This is what she can do for you. I don't think there's that.
You've got a sense of
confidence.
security.
Security.
Yeah. So actually, then I need to ask James, what does the man have to do to make the wife secure with these external relationships?
The man just needs to play his role as a husband in that house. He needs to be the provider. He needs to be the one protecting the wife. He needs to show her affection. He needs to show her that I have no reason of looking any other side apart from her. Yeah. I just need to that reassurance. He needs to know at the back of her mind that she's secured wherever she is.
I think the woman has to just know her place.
All right.
Yeah, you can't be competing with the house help. Yeah, you should just know your place.
What if the house help is the one competing with you?
Then we'll have a problem.
Do you have to let them go? And in asking that again, what if they're very effective at what they do?
I mean, if worst comes to worst, like, just let them go. I mean, if you're really uncomfortable, that is supposed to be your comfort zone, really, that we can't really compromise on that. Just let them go get someone else who you feel you're comfortable with. And that's why you'd find out that people going for older house helps because they feel like, okay, probably they won't even think about dressing in a suggestive manner. They won't, you know, think outside some very fishy lines. And that's why at the end of the day, we're talking about preference. What is okay with you? Go for it.
Yeah. No matter how effective she is,
Yeah.
if she's a threat to your marriage,
Just
Then she needs to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, she needs to go.
You're right.
Yeah.
You
Get
know, because
an
I'm
order.
thinking of a Bible story. I'm thinking Abraham was supposed to let somebody go, and he thought, no, I'm not letting her go. There's this lady, Hagar,
Yeah.
and he felt like, I'm not letting her go. And God had to speak to him and say, listen to Sarah. Because Sarah was saying, let her go. What happens, ladies, when your husband or your man is more attached to the food that is cooked by the house girl than your own? I want to hear that from the ladies. Go ahead, Mona.
Very serious. But you see, now it all comes down
Okay,
to...
let me break it down to you. You've served James food.
Yes.
He's trying to be nice, so he didn't say the food was bad. But you could tell by how much he ate. He didn't really enjoy this.
Yes.
He didn't talk much. Then somebody else prepares the same kind of meal. And the thing he said, the thing he looked like he doesn't eat much, he asked for a second serving. You know, he's not even commented. He's just asked for a second serving. How does that make a woman feel?
Depends with your place. It depends with your place. Because
Really?
like the lady we have right now, she used to work in a restaurant. She's very good at cooking. Very good. So at times he'll just comment and I'll be fine. I'll be fine with it. It's okay for them to come
Is that
knowing
because
much
you know
more.
that she was working in a restaurant, so you've fixed it?
The mindset is very...
So you prepared your mind. What if she was just an ordinary girl
Yeah.
coming
Girl,
in?
yeah.
She dresses well. She does everything very well. Then she's such a good cook, and you cannot trace it to she's worked at a restaurant.
Yeah.
She just beats you hands down at
Yeah.
cooking.
Pastor Chris, I think it's okay for them coming while knowing much more than you do, even with the makeup, with the dressing,
Okay.
even, you know, not just with the food. I think it's okay for them to come knowing more than you do.
All right.
I will compliment where it's due. Without any strings attached.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I'm safe here. Because
Your wife is a bit of
when the food is bad, I talk. When it's sweet, I just enjoy.
But don't just comment when she's there.
You know, like there's certain kind of meals, for example, that a man would like probably they want to eat chapatis. Then
Yeah.
their wife cannot cook chapatis.
Yeah.
And this man wants to do chapatis like 2 to 3 times.
Yeah.
So somehow now the wife is pushed to the periphery in the kitchen because the man is saying, look, can we have chapatis? And the wife knows she can't do that. So it means the house girl has to do that. Don't you think even if you knew your place, Sydney or Kiki, don't you think that even if you knew your place, you'd start feeling like you're being pushed aside a bit?
I'll talk on behalf of me because I know myself.
Yeah.
I would feel bad. So this is what I'd do. I'd tell the househelp, now I don't know how to cook chapatis, but I'm very grateful you came my way that you know how to cook chapatis. So I need to learn how to help me learn to cook chapatis, you know? Because I remember I used to be in a relationship whereby, okay, I'm not saying I'm a bad cook, but there are times when I used to serve the food and then the guy adds salt and then I'm thinking, okay, and then he just eats. So I'm thinking, so I asked, was the food tasty? Was it too salty? And he's like, it was okay. So I'm thinking, I dedicated my time to cooking this food, you know, because I used love and everything. So I'm thinking, I'd ask the house help, what do you do in cooking this great meals? I'd like to know. Yes.
But there are people there are women who don't even have the interest.
That's
you know,
true.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
even have the interest. You know, you would want to know, but there are those ones who don't even they don't even have interest in going to the kitchen. So where does that place them? Here is a man. I've had this so many times. That's why I bring this. I've had this so many times about men who will complain about, you know, my wife can't cook, so it's my house girl who's always cooking. Sometimes they don't want to express that directly to their wives, but it's such a huge issue to them. We did a show a few weeks ago and the men say that's number one, that the wife should be able to cook.
Yeah.
So you're thinking of this house girl. She cooks the things that the hubby loves. Is that a threat to the relationship? And if you can't do what Kiki says of going to ask her to teach you, what do you do?
I don't even think this should be a topic of discussion because if you know or if you can tell there's a way your husband or boyfriend or whoever likes eating his meal or prefers to eat chapatis 3 times in a week, I mean really it should be your place to have that effort in you to do something about it.
Do something
I mean
about it.
really, if you cannot keep him, what are you expecting? At the end of the day, things are going to start, you know, being shaky. And people always argue over the smallest and the slightest of things. It might not be a tornado that came into your relationship. The slightest of things normally create a very big thing. So I mean, really, if you don't have interest, you'd rather pray to God to give you interest. Like it's
Can you
serious.
imagine? You know, you're talking about the little things that come up and eat up into relationships.
Yeah.
So you can imagine you're having this argument, and then your wife pulls up that I know you don't even like my stuff.
Food, yeah.
She's been noticing that you're eating the other person's food a lot, but then it comes up into an argument. That's why I've been asking about the risk of that. It comes up into the argument because there's a way ladies know how to do that. You'll have talked about the salt, Kiki, but you know, Kiki's hearing you just don't like my food.
Yeah.
The person may have said the salt was much, but she's just hearing you don't like how I cook. So what do you do in those situations as a man now? How do you try to help your wife find her place as a man?
I would maybe request for meals that she knows how to cook.
Okay.
And or just let her know that I'm just attached to the food, not to the person who made the food. Yeah.
It's never that serious.
All right, we're out of time. So James, I want your wrapping thoughts, and each one of us is going to give you a wrapping thoughts. Let me start with you.
I say house helps are very important in this day and age. They take care of our kids, they watch our property and our things when we are away, and we should treat them with respect.
Okay.
And with regards to marriage, they should know their place, and our wives too. And we as husbands, we should know our place in that relationship.
All right.
Right.
Sydney.
For me is, it boils down to preference, as I had said before. If you feel like getting an older woman at your place in regards to our house help, and you feel you're comfortable with that, well and good, kindly do it. If you feel like getting a younger person who's going to be able to connect more with your kids, or you know, probably do things that in the house faster, cleaner, more efficient, more effective, do it. It's preference.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I'll agree with what James has said. We treat house helps with respect, and they are of importance. And we remember that they're the ones who are taking care of our household, our children, you know. So they are human beings too. So let's just treat them with the respect that they deserve.
Okay. Wrapping thoughts.
Sometimes they are they're disappointing.
Yeah.
You treat them well, and they leave you without notice.
Yeah.
But just keep doing. Keep treating them well.
All right.
You know, keep loving them, keep treating them as human beings.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very, very important.
All right.
Yes.
Wrapping thoughts, Mona.
For me, I think they come to be part of us, because you give them the space that you wouldn't just give an outsider. You come and they come and be part of us. So let's just treat them as part of us, unless they decide otherwise.
All right. You heard it from the panel, from Mandate and Re.take. I still want to hear from you, so keep the conversation going on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. The hashtag is KTN Life and Style. We will be back after this break with Style My Wife, Style My Hubby, so don't go anywhere. Keep it Life and Style.
Mi sipendi kwa sababu I don't think men should wear purple, and he's always in this kind of sneakers. I don't even think he owns a pair.
His favorite.
It's just jeans and t-shirts,
Jeans
sneakers.
and t-shirts, jeans, t-shirts,
yeah,
sneakers.
Yeah.